Welcome to the Being Known podcast with my friend, Dr. Curt Thompson.
And my friend, Pepper Sweeney.
We are here to discover and explore what it means to be truly known. And this is an exciting episode today, Curt.
I'm telling you, talk to me.
We are calling this a bonus episode to this season. We're really excited because we have the esteemed Amy Cella with us today. And we are going to be talking about bottom left drawer, which is something that Curt and I are really excited to share with you. Something that Amy has dreamed up, and she's bringing some beauty into the world, and we want to talk about it today.
Yeah, and it just so, as I think our listeners will discover quickly and throughout our time, it really fits well with this season on the beauty of wisdom, because she's going to be bringing a lot of that in the conversation that we're about to have. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I am actually going through this program with Amy now, and so that's been something that's been very cool, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I'm going to give you, Amy, the chance. First of all, hi.
Good morning.
Welcome.
So happy to be talking about this with you guys.
We're grateful to have you here, and
finally,
definitely bring a level of professionalism to the room that the two of us
have
been lacking all morning.
Pepper and I keep talking like, what are we missing? What are we missing? Oh, I think the ingredient.
Yeah,
the ingredient is the one who we've been waiting for.
Exactly. So,
Amy Cella.
Amy, let's just start with the basics here. What exactly is bottom left drawer?
So the basics, like a really short elevator ride.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a bottom left drawer. It's a service that guides you people through the process of getting their affairs in order, getting their ducks in a row, so you're good to go.
Getting their ducks in a row, so they're good to go. Love it. So let's deep dive in a little bit deeper. What motivated you to create bottom left drawer?
Bottom left drawer. Interestingly enough, it comes from loss. And in the span of about 18 months, I lost 3 people very dear to me. One to suicide, another to pancreatic cancer, and then my mom to heart disease. And each of these losses, I don't know if it was because they were so close together, but they affected me in different ways and left me pondering many things. Like prior to my mom's death, she discarded all of her vital documents. All of them. And I don't mean she shredded her birth certificate or lost her driver's license. She disposed of everything to her name. She was very organized. She had all of her documents in a safe and secure place. We went there once, they were there. We went there again, and they were all gone.
Oh, boy.
And that's,
And you don't really know what happened to them.
We don't. My sister and I have ideas. My mom was like the opposite of a hoarder. She was a minimalist to the extreme. And we think that when she had slight dementia, and that we think that she was confused, and we think she saw these documents as essentially junk mail. And she got rid of them because we went to the place where they were usually, and they weren't there. And we thought, oh, she moved them. And then we're like, okay, they're not there. And they were nowhere. And this proved problematic for a lot of things. And it made me wonder, okay, do I have all of my vital documents in order? Do I have them in a safe and secure place? And have I given access to someone? And then with my cousins, one to suicide, another to pancreatic cancer, one was my age, one was younger. It was way too soon for them to go. And maybe because they were peers, it just hit me. It just struck me. I wondered, I was very affected by their deaths. And I thought, did they know that I cared about them? Like, I was so aware of my care for them. And it wasn't in a shameful way. It was just like, did they know? Because you think, I think people know. Did they know? And so the motivation for bottom left drawer was I wanted personally to plan and prepare for the expected, and wanted to provide a way for others to do the same. So it really came from loss in a beautiful way.
Well, it's funny as you're saying that, I also think about how again, in this particular sixth season when we're talking about the beauty of wisdom, and I think there is a sense already in which we talked about these different tracks of time. Like I could be on the track one where I'm just either ruminating about the past or anxious about the future. And what you're describing is a beautiful example of being on track two. You're reflecting on, what are the things that I need to collect, how to getting my affairs in order. But it's also, I think of, as you're describing this, you're not just like getting your affairs in order. You're also you're thinking about other people who are going to be in the place of having to do something with your affairs.
Right.
And how do you help them? And so anyway, it's a real testimony to a great act of wisdom and loving kindness in doing this.
Yeah. I can't imagine, for you, Amy, being in that place of grief after you lost your mom and then walking into the room and thinking, okay, we're just going to take care of things. And then you having no roadmap, you having no, and how difficult that must have been. And I love that you've taken that hard stuff and you're turning it into something beautiful. And, so let's talk about, we sort of have now an understanding of what motivated you to get there. What would you say is the purpose of Bottom Left Drawer?
So they're really connected, right? The motivation and the purpose. And so this wanting to provide, I thought, I can get my affairs in order. But then I thought, I want to provide an easy, straightforward way for others to do the same. So that really is my purpose. I've provided an easy, straightforward way for others to do the same. And then I thought, I thought the part of my mission, I want to have a number, like I want to help 1 million people get their affairs in order, get their ducks in a row. But then I started doing the math, which is not my gift. And I was like, 1 million people, I have about, 30 more years. I don't know if I'm lucky. And so I'm like, how many is that a day that I need to help? And I thought, I'm getting lost. I'm in the weeds. And what really struck me is I want to help people do this because when we have our ducks in a row, when we have our affairs in order, when we have our affairs in order, then we can get busy with this fabulous, beautiful life. So, so it's to help people and easy, straightforward way to do so.
Yeah. And Curt, when you talk about the trains 1 and trains 2, my problem is I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I'm on the bullet train. I mean, it feels like, I think it's partly to do with, seeing my kids moving on, my youngest is getting ready to go into college. My 2 older are in postgraduate school and all that stuff. And it's like, so I just feel this rapid movement, which was really the motivation for me to want to go through this with you. And I know that there's also some personal elements to this that we'll talk about that was also motivated by loss for you as well. You break this down into 9 segments. The Bottom Left Drawer, there are 9 segments to it. I'm going to go list them and then let's talk about a few of them so to give people a better understanding. So you have legal, vital documents, assets, insurance, passwords, accounts, memberships, and subscriptions, planning, and you go into personal and then relational legacy. So those are our 9 different segments that you cover with Bottom Left Drawer. So I don't know. Let's talk about vital documents a little bit.
Yeah, it's appropriate because that's really what motivated me or started this whole thing. So we all have vital documents because we come into this world with a birth certificate. So we start off with the vital document.
Yeah,
And
we come to this world looking for someone looking for our birth certificate. Is that what you?
Yes, we will end up looking
Yes,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
Sorry.
I'm still and now I'm looking for my birth certificate,
Right.
and I have no idea where it is.
Exactly.
Okay, well, see, so that's the thing. So we have these vital documents, starting with our birth certificate, and we don't need them often, but when we need them, we need them. And the anxiety that comes from needing them and not knowing where they are can be a bit much. And it can be avoidable. And here's the thing. We spend on average, we, meaning all of us, everybody listening us, on average, we spend 2.5 days a year looking for things.
It's
That's
a little bit more for me.
5,000 hours of our life, 6.5 years.
Listen, if my wife had a nickel for every time she heard, "Hey, hon, where's the?"
Where are my keys?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we'd be wealthy.
Yeah.
You know what I wish we could do? I wish I could just say, like, I'm just taking the last half of this week, and I'm just going to look for things.
And
I'm just going to get my I'm going to get my 2.5 days in. I'm going to get my 2.5 days in.
Yeah.
And then I'll have it taken care
Then
of.
you'll be done, right? You know, this.
Well,
Amy, go ahead.
Well, and so I think, okay, 2.5 days, I can think of way better things that I wanted to do at that time rather than looking for my passport or any of those documents. What were we going to say, Pep?
I was going to say, a friend of mine is. I was just talking to him the other day, and he's planning a family trip to take a European river cruise, but he's lost his passport, and
oh my gosh,
and he said they're asking him for his grandparents' birthplace, and I have no idea. His mom and dad are both deceased, and he doesn't know where to find the information. He doesn't have any idea, and he's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go on this trip.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because he can't find.
So wait till we get to the personal segment, because then he would know his grandparents'
Very
birth.
good.
But yeah.
So so in this vital documents segment, what exactly? So you're just making a list of all these things, or how's that work out?
So what we would do is, see, the idea is that you work through all of these 9 segments, and so for vital documents, then you would create a comprehensive list of all documents that you deem vital, and then we will go through gathering those documents, putting them in a safe and secure place, and then providing access to someone should they need them.
Okay, let's look at another one.
Right.
So you and I haven't gotten to this one yet in our one-on-ones, but let's talk about accounts, memberships, and subscriptions.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I just listened to that podcast.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, on the BLD,
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so accounts, memberships, and subscriptions, we all have them. Most of us have about 100 of them. And on average, 100.
I can't believe that.
It's a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And on average, each month it costs us about $273.33. That's on average what we spend on accounts, memberships, and subscriptions. And okay, Netflix in 2022 had over 230 million subscribers. That just was astounding to me. That's so many. So then free trials can be the death of us, because we want to watch a movie, some streaming service that we don't already have. So we're like, we can do the free trial. And I promise I'm going to write down the password and login information. I'm going to calendar it to cancel it. And then 3 years later, when they notify us that our credit card is no longer working, we're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. When I was traveling a ton, I wanted to try that Clear, where you just go through and because I was flying in and out of some airports that had it, but made a huge difference. And so I tried it. Well, then I wasn't traveling as much anymore, but I completely forgot to cancel it. I didn't have it marked. And so I paid for not even using it. I didn't even use it for a full year, and I paid for it. Yeah.
Probably other things you would want to do with that
Yeah,
money.
exactly.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it's the same thing that then we would make a comprehensive list of all of your accounts, memberships, and subscriptions, document all login information, and then set a review process so that you're not in 3 years finding out that you're paying for Clear when you didn't even know it.
Yeah. Well, and not to, I mean, not to pile on, but I mean, I think it is fair to say that systems, they're not trying to actively do people harm, but systems count on your forgetting.
For sure.
Systems are counting on making money and not having to have any skin in the game for it. They're counting on you signing up for something and then forgetting about it,
right?
And just giving them money,
right?
It's part of their budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you think, Amy, that by listing all of these subscriptions, finding out, at least you have knowledge then of what, of what you're doing, right? And then you can choose, you can figure out from there what I need to do, because I think there's just so much that we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is bringing awareness too, because one of the segments is passwords. And so if we have a system for passwords and we have a system for accounts, memberships, and subscriptions, then there's an awareness, and there are a number of checkpoints where, okay, we're aware. We don't have to, we don't have to review this daily, but we're aware. We have a system.
Right. Right. Okay. So let's talk about another segment. Let's talk about planning. What are you thinking about with planning? Yeah. You like this one.
I do like this one. And it's not, yeah. Okay, Linda Williams, a gal that lives in the UK, and about a year ago, she got diagnosed with terminal cancer. And she said, she was like, this is an article I read, a story I read. She said, I don't want to plan a funeral. She said, I don't really like funerals, which it always cracks me up when people say that, because I'm like, have you ever heard someone say, can't wait for the next funeral?
I mean, look,
I'm going to crash a funeral.
I got the Post, and I'm looking for funerals I can go to.
Yeah. Right.
It's kind of cool.
So Linda didn't want to plan a funeral. So she said, I want to plan a celebrate my life party. Not for after she died, but for now. And so she loved Spitfire planes. She was 76, so I would say that. She planned a flight in a Spitfire plane. Her son followed them in a chaser, which I didn't even know what a chaser was, but doesn't matter. Then afterwards, it was followed by a party with a 1940s theme, and they just danced the night away. And about 2 weeks before the party, she was in a real difficult place, and she thought, I might not make it to my party. So she had a cutout, life-size cutout made of herself with a message to the attendees in case she didn't make her celebration party. So I think about Linda, and then I think about, Yul Brynner, he created a video that he wanted played upon his death about don't smoke. And Frederick Bauer, I think that's how you say his last name. He's the guy that invented the Pringles can. And when he died, he wanted to be cremated, and he wanted to have some of those ashes put in the iconic cylindrical can. I'm like, so we get to choose. And the thing is, we do choose about our funeral or our end of life party. Like, we get to choose, and we do choose. Even if we do nothing, it is a choice, whether intentional or unintentional. We've chosen. So in this segment, we look at all the options. Like, this is how involved do you want to be, and you get to pick what you want to be involved in, and we put those plans into place.
In the last couple of years, I've had to be involved with planning a couple of funerals for family members. And it is, you're left with, okay, what would Dad like? What would he have liked?
Yeah.
What would, and it, it would have been nice to have a little guidance. I'm not sure if I have to we haven't done this segment, but I have to figure out if, if I would want any involvement or not. But it is thinking about those people that are going to have those responsibilities after your death. Yeah. And
well, I think too, this again, Amy, as we're talking about this throughout the course of all this, but particularly here, I think about how so much of our life is we are responding kind of automatically and impulsively out of our own places of woundedness and weakness, and so much of life is lived in that way. And you're really talking about a conscious, intentional, proactive way of living. And which is in many respects, as we've been talking about this season, it's the way of wisdom. I am with intention choosing to enter into and to do things with being mindful that it's not just what I want, but what I want in light of what other people are going to also be, what's going to be required of other people in the same way, which is really beautiful.
yes. Oh, go ahead. You wanted to say something.
Well, and what I love about it is that these things can bring anxiety, or we kind of think about them, but then we don't do anything about it. So it takes up this energy that is like, is for no purpose. It's just anxiety and confusion. And then it's like when we have gotten our things in order, then the freedom and the peace of mind that comes from it, it's like, oh my gosh, what can I do now?
Okay, I'm sorry. I just keep talking. But I want to say one more thing. And this is about just the beauty of bottom left drawer and the beauty of doing something with you. This notion, like I think about, Pep, we were talking earlier about like, where are my things? Like,
Right.
or like all the list of subscriptions that I have that I'm just paying money to people that I don't even know I'm paying. I'm not even using it or whatever. Like there's a certain sense of embarrassment of like if I had to collect these things, oh my gosh, I don't want to know. I don't want anybody to know. But if Amy, if I'm in conversation with you, if I'm working with you and I'm working through this, there's a sense in which I'm not alone in this process. And the not being alone is a big part of what enables me then to go on to take initiative, to be proactive, to have agency in doing everything in all these categories, because like just the whole notion that I have to do it is a reminder that like I'm not very well organized. Like I don't have my my ducks in a row. I don't or my eggs hatched,
Eggs
or
in a
either,
basket,
I don't
or
eggs in a basket, whatever the metaphor is. I don't have it.
chickens.
And so so it's just really it's so I'm really grateful that it would be you who like that gives me a sense of connection in the process of doing this.
Well, and that's, sorry, Beth. That initially, when I first started working on bottom left drawer and putting it together, my thought was that it would be a course, and it will be a course, an option to take it as a course and go through it as a course one day. But then what has really resonated is the one-on-one coaching, because for the to your point, Curt, that talking together, being together, knowing you're not alone, knowing there is no shame, because a lot of people feel shame, like I've done nothing, like as far as legal, I've done nothing. And it's like, you are here, like so to your point, Curt, it's
and bottom left drawer isn't only about getting your legal documents in order and doing these things. There's also a personal element to it that you talk about, Aim.
Yes. Okay. I have another story, quick story. My grandparents, you guys know, but that my grandparents were instrumental in my life, instrumental. And I have a letter from my grandma. She wrote it in 1945. And the fact that I have it and can hold it in my hands, and she's writing my grandpa. She's on her way. She's making her way from California to Texas, ironically, because her father was passing. And she wrote my grandpa, and she's communicated. She said, I miss the kids. It's hard for me to be away from them. I long to be home. She talked about her longings. And she was so effusive about her care and love for my grandpa. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just seeing that. And I mean, my grandma, I was 17 when she passed. So I was still young. I was not an adult. And I thought, I wish I had more. I wish I knew my grandma's longings and her passions. And so in personal, we decide what we want to document about ourselves, and if we want to interview someone and document things about them. So it's really an about me, and it can be things like our health, our medical history, our military service, our family tree, but it can also be things that we have fun with, like what are our favorite things? What are we most proud of? What do we long for and hope for and dream of? And Pep, I'm thinking of, was it your friend lost the passport and needs his grandparents' birthplace.
Right.
Like those are things that we can include, in our personal, like all things personal about us.
Yeah, and he's feeling like I've got nowhere to turn to get this information. And it's really difficult. He's in a tough spot.
Rabbit hole. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, well, Amy, let's talk about how people can engage with Bottom Left Drawer. I know that you have a lot of things set up, and people would probably like to hear more from you and get involved with this. So let's talk about that.
So I have a couple of things. Social media, and social media is at Amy Cella. And
That's
if you know how to spell
Cella. Yep.
If you know how to spell cello, you know how to spell cella. Which I thought I should have taken up the cello, because how cool would that be to say, and here's Cella on a cello. Okay, social media.
You still can.
Yeah.
I understand there's a category for musical instrument playing in Bottom Left Drawer.
Yes, that's coming soon. So social media at Amy Cella. The podcast.
Bottom Left Drawer.
Bottom Left Drawer, yes. And it's varies. Sometimes it's like I just did a series on each of the segments. Sometimes it's stories. It hopefully encourages, and inspires. That's what I endeavored to do in the podcast. You can sign up for the newsletter, the one-on-one coaching.
Which is what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we meet. What that means is it's a week of coaching. We have a check-in call, or you can tell them, Pep. We have a check-in call, 15 minutes, where we talk about what you accomplished the week before and what you intend to accomplish the week following.
And, I will say that Amy does this in a way where she's just encouraging, and it makes it fun, and there's no shame or anything. If like we were talking about before about I don't know where this stuff is, I can't find this stuff, any of that. She just there's a lot of grace, but she gives you checklists. She makes sure that you have all the information that you need to get all your information together. And it's really been a fun experience for me, for sure. And it's opened my eyes to a few things that I need to figure out and work on. And it's also, thankfully, I'm a little further along on some things than I thought I was, which is great. Yeah. And then the online course. Did you mention that?
The online course, yeah. And like I said, that was initially what I thought this would begin to be, but the one-on-one coaching has really resonated. So there will be an online course to make it available to more people.
So I think that we should do, if you're amenable to this, Amy, I think we should do a giveaway. I think you should give away a couple.
Yeah,
like a 1 month coaching session.
Yeah, let's do that for 2 people.
Be awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll give away 2.
So I think maybe if they DM you.
Yeah.
And then we'll do we'll pick randomly from those.
I love it.
And
we'll
pick
and
2
DM
people.
is perfect, because then we connect. Yeah.
So how should they do that? Give specific instructions on how they should DM you. Should they do that?
You can do it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or you can go to Instagram and just message me there.
They have those accounts.
That's
at Amy Cella.
Yep.
At AMYCELLA.
Great.
That's fun. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that'll be really fun. And then it'd be kind of fun to hear from them and hear what their experience was like too. So
they can DM me and say, like which section sounds fun to them or sounds like one they want to work on or what they like about what, just DM me.
You know, at the on the Being Known podcast, we have a tradition of having an application at the end of each episode. And Amy, I think you have prepared an application for us for this
have.
week. Yeah.
Let me grab it because. Okay, so it's regarding personal. So this week's application is a boost to your personal segment. Get about documenting information about yourself and craft your own about me, or interview someone you care about and craft their about me.
That's
and
awesome.
what would be a quick example of like if I was going to do that? I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like so what would I want to include in that?
For yourself, it's the same for yourself or someone else. So you can do the like medical history, because that is sometimes when I'm gone, it could be beneficial for my nieces and nephews to know my medical history, military service, which I have none of, or a family tree. Some people really get into family trees. So those are some things. But then like with my grandma, I found myself wanting to know like what were some of her favorites, like her favorite artist, her favorite author, things that she was most proud of, things she longed for, things, a favorite song. So favorites and
you had
hopes.
The question of what makes you get up early or stay up late. Like what are those things? Favorite recipes and songs and those kind of things that are really great to look at later on for other people.
Yeah. Well, I just think too, Amy, you're pointing out this tendency. I mean, you're the invitation for people to do this exercise kind of highlights our tendency to minimize our lives in the lives of other people. Like, who would ever want to know what my favorite recipes are, or my favorite artists were, or who would ever want to know where. Like, would my grandchildren or I can't imagine them ever being interested in knowing where I was born, or what gets me up in the morning and what has me staying up late at night. Those kinds of things. And I think it's a beautiful. The application is a beautiful invitation for us to imagine that our lives are just so much more important than we often believe they are.
We matter.
And not just to us, but we matter to other people in ways that sometimes it's just really difficult for us to imagine.
Right. It matters that we're in the room, or we were in the room.
Yeah, really does.
Beautiful. All right, everybody go to amycella.com, CELLA.com, or you can go to bottomleftdrawer.com. Reach out to Amy at Amy Cella and DM her, and we're going to be picking a couple of winners. So thanks, Amy. This was great. Appreciate you and all you're doing and the beauty you're bringing into the world with Bottom Left Drawer.
Right on.
Thanks, guys. This was fun.
Yeah, pleasure.
This podcast is produced by Curt Thompson, Pepper Sweeney, and myself, Amy Cella. Audio production and editing is by Keaton Simons. Video production and editing is done by Mark Gould. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on social media at Being Known Pod. If you like this podcast, tell a friend. If you love this podcast, tell everyone you know. And please like, rate, and review wherever you listen. Be well, be known.